Hello and welcome to your last video of the semester, and really this is going to be just a short kind of retrospective look at what we've covered throughout the semester. And I really appreciate you watching this and finishing out our class and our course with a lot of effort and a lot of enthusiasm. I've appreciated everyone's discussion posts. I've appreciated reading your ethnographies and your soundscape papers and everything we've done throughout the semester. So thank you right off the bat. So I think you've gotten the idea that throughout history, throughout all of the world, music has accompanied everything we do as humans. It's our entertainment. It accompanies us as we work. It is how we worship God. It also is how we create society. It's through music and through performance really that we are able to maintain our social bonds and the functions of our society. Through music we express ourselves. It's a way to explore and express our identity. It's a way, as we've talked a lot about, is how to imaginatively try on new formulations of ourselves. It reinforces social bonds. Music, if you think about lullabies, that is one of the main great way of reinforcing bonds between a parent and a child. It also reinforces our bonds with our friends and bonds with our community groups. And we've talked many different ways this happens in terms of reinforcing kind of political bonds. If you think about the U.S. Presidential use of music in presidential elections, or if you think about how South Africa in its fight against apartheid music was very central to creating a kind of a cohesive community to fight against apartheid. And those are just two, quick examples of how music really does is how we enact and how we reinforce our social bonds. It's how we challenge authority, as I mentioned in the South Africa example, how music was really out there very specifically to challenge authority, to kind of put forth ideas that are hard to do unless you're organized, and music really is a way of organizing ourselves as groups. Music, through music, we soothe ourselves. We talked about a little bit about how media and music is oftentimes used as an escape. The world out there can seem hectic and crazy and scary, and oftentimes we escape to music to let ourselves kind of dream big thoughts, and I think that's a way we soothe our fractured selves. I mentioned that music is a tool of protest, and we see that in every country, in every regime, how music can organize people to protest against authority. And it's also, unfortunately, also music is a weapon of war and a way to coerce people who we're fighting against, really. And we talked a lot about how music and violence, although unfortunate, it's something that does happen. So music is used to soothe children. It's also used to fracture people's identities and selves through interrogation and torture. It's amazing that the differences you find in how humans have used music. Again, it's an escape from our daily lives, but it's also a way that we create. We can make audible our dreams. We think and we create and we dream, and it's a way we can create our livelihoods. And I think many of you in the CU Denver program are planning on working in the music industry, and so that's a way to create a livelihood for yourself. By examining music and culture, we really can understand how communities function. If we think back to our lecture we talked about with Cantor Metrics and Alan Lomax, he was really looking at trying to use music as a marker of human history and also understand how music was reinforcing social structure. And so through our understanding of music and contextualizing it in the culture, we can understand how communities function. We understand who we are and who we want to be. Really, music is a way we express ourselves. It's a way we try on identities. It's a way we experience what matters to others. So by going to a concert with your friends, you can have this shared communal experience through music performance that can really be transformative. And it's a way we can explore what matters to us. We can try on identities. We can try on different ideas and ways of thinking. And so through music, we're able to do all these different things, all these various things. By examining music and culture throughout history, I think this is one of the important points I've tried to get across in this class through various lectures, is that we can see patterns that repeat throughout history. And we try to understand why these patterns are repeating and decide if they're worth repeating. And so if we think back to our couple lectures on music and race, we can see the same reactions to certain types of music by the majority in many countries. But if you take, for example, the reaction to African American musics, from ragtime to jazz to rock and roll to rap, you see almost the same language being reused over and over in kind of the initial negative response to these things. And so that's a pattern we see repeated throughout history. Another example of this would be our discussions of Orientalism and other kind of broad stereotypes that are used really they serve the purposes of control and kind of keeping power to certain groups. And so you see these patterns again repeated throughout history, from the ancient times through to contemporary pop music. I gave you several examples of that with the idea of Orientalism. And by recognizing these patterns and that the fact they've repeated throughout history, we can say something isn't quite right, and I can maybe address them. And so in that respect, we can understand where we come from and formulate where we want to go, how we want to respond to these patterns that have been repeating throughout history. And doing this with music is a powerful way of accessing and understanding these overall kind of cultural patterns in a way that's very personal and also very functional, socially functional. And I think really the critique of music culture trends and issues can expose problems in our society. So we talked about, again, a reference back to our lectures on race and Orientalism. I think understanding these repetitive patterns can expose these problems in our society, but it shouldn't necessarily dissuade us from trying to find a solution. So many of the topics we discussed throughout this semester have been challenging, really. But I think by facing and understanding these challenges in context, we can seek to change them. Now, this is not to get you down. Oftentimes, many of our critiques about cultural patterns and how music is being used for, purposes of war or intimidation or power or control, it can sort of get you down. And so that's why I really wanted to kind of end this lecture on a very short video lecture, and also have you watch a good portion of the Steven Pinker lecture about how the world, despite all you hear in the media, but how the world is actually measurably getting better for just about everyone. And so with that, I really want to kind of wrap this video up and make sure you can do the reading that I assigned for today, and also watch a good portion of that video. The video itself is a little long. If you can watch the whole thing, it'd be great. And then a lot of great question and answer period after the actual lecture that I've assigned on Canvas. So as a very quick end, I just want to say thank you. I want to say it's been a great pleasure to be your instructor. I've really enjoyed your thoughtful discussions. I've enjoyed seeing the efforts that everyone's put into exploring how music fits and reflects and creates and really is our society. And I really look forward to seeing your final research projects. I hope this class has changed just a little bit how you think, and I hope that some of what we discovered here and practice here you can stay with you, and I hope it informs you from here on out, and how maybe what we discussed here in this class can help contextualize the experiences that are to come. And I hope that the honing our ability to critique music and culture and understand patterns that repeat throughout history, etc. I hope that's something that can stay with you for the years ahead in your careers, in your general daily life. We covered a huge amount of material quite quickly in this class, so I appreciate you sticking with me through what can be kind of an onslaught of information. So I want to say, as my final words, thank you. My last final words are, make sure you watch the video I've linked on Canvas, and also make sure to take the quiz once it opens up. So thanks very much, and I appreciate it.